Oh, well, welcome. Welcome to our webinar number two. Today we're going to be covering the subject of making sense during this pandemic. We really have gone through a full month of uncertainties and things that are happening today that we really are puzzled of the things that are happening. You got people talking about conspiracy theories. The point is, and as I was telling you, Sean, earlier, there's all kinds of misinformation, and people just don't know what to believe. Shall I use it now and wait? Like I did last time we talked, I said, yeah, I will wait, and I still think that I should really wait a little bit until I get better information. But as I'm waiting, you have to consider also the source of the information. You got to look at it and say, hey, who is telling me this thing? If you don't really know who to believe, I think that is one way that you can begin searching about it. And one of the things that I was showing Sean was a web link that comes directly from a very reputable organization that has been doing studies on that, and we'll cover that as we move on. Hello, Jose Antonio. I don't see you, and I don't have your sound, so but welcome. Okay, so just now we're going to see if we can look at some numbers. The latest and greatest, the reported on the CDC as December 17, the national totals. And I begin with this particular page because I think it's probably the most interesting one on laboratory testing. And I tell you the secret why I started with this. The total test reported as 12/16 was 220 million, of course, in the overall. And then the total positive test, it was 18,337,000. And remember, this is from February on down. So you see this accumulative number. But then look at the last number. It says the total of positive is 8.32. Keep in mind that one, okay? So the next slide is basically to tell you that the amount of cases have gone up by 230,000, and the average daily is about 66.1, and the total deaths are now 2 days on the road, 3,444. If we look at these daily trend in cases, right now we are, of course, at 230,953. This is, as at the bottom says, as December the 17th. And that's the latest that we received yesterday, okay? But take a look at this one. The amount of deaths are 2 days on the road are 3,444 on the 16th and the 17th. At the beginning, I thought it was a glitch, but when I double checked today, it is not a glitch. It is what it is. That's what happened. Let's don't focus too much, though, in the dead people. We know that we have casualties, but let's focus on how can we tell that this pandemic is going down. How can we analyze that? Well, although we have a reduction about 33% of traveling to the workplaces, so people are not traveling to work, neither that people are going to retail stores. So ladies with Macy's accounts, I'm sorry, but you can't go shopping, and also the reduction on traveling to transit stations. This is airplanes, this is going to the trains, the railroad cars, and going from a state to a state. All of them has considerably come down, while the percentage of people staying home went up 30%. So somehow we're beginning to do the right thing, okay? So let's make sense of these numbers, okay? To avoid confusion. If we consider the percentage of tests that comes back positive, this is what I recommend we see, then we look at the positivity rate, okay? The World Health Organization said that if we are testing enough, this number should be less than 10%. And we're currently at 8.32, as I show you, right from the CDC, okay? If we increase the number of tests, but there's no disease transmission, the positive number rate will eventually go down by direct proportion or will remain where it is until the testing is done. But if we see more disease transmissions, then the positive rate will definitely go up and it will increase, as we're seeing positivity rates rising despite of additional tests all over the United States. So there's an increase of disease. So that indicator, we recommend to keep an eye on it. When you look at the CDC, you're going to see that there's the amount of death has no correlation, direct correlation with the amount of actual cases, because not everybody's going to die. Okay, everybody familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Maslow.
You remember that? You know who
Yes.
you know who he is, right? Well,
Oh, yeah.
he describes the needs to be all psychological, and rightfully so. This is something that we really need to look at it, because it begins at the bottom with the first level by recognizing us as mature people, psychological needs. Our need of eat will force us to go and achieve and get a job, get paid so you can buy your food. All of a sudden, bang, we have this problem. What do you think that went wrong with you? How, right now, I would imagine that we are all at the safety level, because once somebody broke the news that we had a pandemic in our hands and that it was going all over the world and nobody could control it at the time. When was that? February, January, early March? When that happened, we went from the fifth level to the first level.
I do, somewhat. I must say I've felt some anxiety about the fifth level. At times I thought I was there, and some days I doubt that. The hierarchy of needs. What's his name? Anthony Robbins did a refinement of this one time of Maslow's needs, where he listed five human needs that everybody is wired with. Everybody has these needs to one degree or the other, and he listed them as security, and then insecurity.
That's
Believe it or not, you got to have insecurity, because that kind of makes life interesting. You got to have love, and you got to have growth. You got to have significance, to be significant, and contribution. I think that's 6. Yeah, I think I listed 6. And the fact that many of us are at home and we're not able to contribute as much to society, I think that creates a lot of anxiety. I know it has with me. Fortunately, I'm still able to be productive and add some value to the world. But I'm very sympathetic for people who don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that expansion. If of that correlation, if you think about this, Sean, they'll go back to your level of safetiness. How will you be able to do your level of safetiness? It gives you all kinds of insecurity. It really puts you in the position where you become insecure about what you're doing. I mean, if you're going to walk outside and you're going to encounter somebody, and that somebody has no mask, there's obvious that that you're going to feel very insecure to even come talk to that person, or if you're going to pick up your food, because nowadays we are pretty much on delivering and doing things all the time. um, it is going to the restaurants and pick up our food and then take off and go eat it at a house someplace. Even doing that, when you're going to the restaurants, you're looking around and you're trying to to ignore the fact that there's people around with you without masks, but you can't, because just about a week ago I went to pick up some food, and the person behind me, although we had room, he was basically right behind me, on top of me, and I had to turn around and say,
Violating your space, right?
excuse me, oh yeah, I'm sorry, man, and then I noticed that it had no mask. So those are the kind of things that we are constantly battling, and that is what brings me to my psychological sense of safetyness, because of it. I mean, it is hard enough to not to ignore it. In this case, I was not able to ignore it because it was aggravating me more than anything else. I don't know what else to do about that. And Carlos, how did that Maslow points at you? What do you think that you are currently feeling? In which level do you feel that you are as you see?
I think we are trying to keep the first and second level only right now.
Mm-hmm.
Social needs is far beyond our expectation right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, we are in a season of holidays, but first is our physiological needs and safety needs. The most risk here right now for all of us is the asymptomatic persons. We don't know who has this virus.
Mm-hmm.
Because they may be asymptomatic, but they can spread it. And in fact, they are spreading it.
Yeah.
That's the worst scenario right now, no?
Yeah, that's
And
the reality.
It is very common right now.
It's a lot of reality on that. Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
It is there. The therapeutic development tracker. This institution allows you for the progress that they have done with over 800 institutions really working very hard on all of the 4 phases while the development of this vaccine. This is something that I used to go up there and look at how have they progressed in the development of this vaccine. Other than that, if the science is there and the technology is there, it is obvious that if we're going to develop something quickly and faster than many times, thank God that technology allows you to do that. But never forget, you're bound to make mistakes. And I don't call these mistakes because they were expecting, like, for instance, what happened in Canada day before yesterday. And Jose is not here to talk to us about it. But that person got a heavy reaction because he had problems with allergies.
Yes.
But the hospital was expecting that because he said that I had that type of, but I want to take it anyway. So when he took it, they were waiting and ready for him. Once he started, immediately they got on there, they reacted,
epinephrine,
and they come back with him. And he said that he was very happy that he took that shot.
Yes.
Okay, so
that happens with every medicine.
Exactly.
If you are allergic, you can have that reaction, no?
Exactly. So
No, it's not this vaccine only.
no, it's not. There's many other ones. There are people like
Also with food.
yes.
Some people is allergic to shrimps, other to chocolate, other to nuts, hazelnuts.
Yes, I've seen them people getting their lips about this big because eating shrimp. So it is like that. But he was glad to do that. So even though we had hiccups like that, the important thing to see here is that thank God the health guys were ready to deal with it and to really take away that fear that they don't want to vaccinate. The one that everybody really contemplates is the long-term consequences. People are saying, well, maybe in a year, going to develop cancer to do that. That's being a little bit extreme. So the recommendation is just take one day at a time and continue observing and continue educating yourself and just think logically and think about it. What will happen if I do this or if I don't do this? I seen the president took one, or the future president took his shot yesterday, and also the vice president took his shot as well. I have a relative that says, oh, they probably put in water in their arms, and I said, no, they put water, they killed them, so what do you think about that, Sean?
I think that there has been, especially in recent months, I hope you've noticed it too, a huge politicization of news and of information. And it's gotten, quite frankly, it's gotten very ridiculous. When you have Facebook and Twitter taking down information that doesn't agree with whatever official narrative that somebody wants out there, it creates suspicion. It creates a lot of suspicion with people. Even rational, intelligent people like you and I can look at this and realize that the information we're getting is filtered. It's propaganda, basically. It's being filtered. It's being distorted. We're being made to believe certain things and not believe other things that maybe are valid. And that's a frightening development for me. It is to not know what's real anymore.
With precision,
With precision, yes.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, but that is the true fact. We have the same thing in South America, right, Carlos? The news are, very much a lot to be desired for what I understand.
Yes, there's a lot of disinformation for whatever reason it is, I don't know. But also with people that should be creating the positive thing for the people, no?
Mm-hmm.
We had a case of a congressman here that is a physician, and he said that the vaccine shouldn't be allowed.
So it is unfortunately. Would you follow what Dr. Fauci said? Do you think that he is a credited person? Is Dr. Fauci a person to trust, Sean? Carlos?
Yes, of course. I see him. We see here in our home a lot of news from all over the world, thanks to the technology and the communication we have. And we see a lot of Fauci or some from Germany or also Spain or New Zealand. There are a lot of good information to get in, no?
Yeah.
But you have to be
very careful.
Very careful. What are you doing, and where are you getting it from?
Yeah. I think that these attacks, that because I feel what you say, Sean. It's true. You don't know who to believe anymore. It has become political in context. Do you think that our current president is helping any?
This president is unique. I don't just full disclaimer here. He's not somebody that I voted for the first time around, and I don't. I'm usually my politics is usually opposite his. But with that being said, I don't think that this president has been treated fairly at all, and he's unusual in the fact that he uses that Twitter account to speak directly to the American people. No, I don't think he's really helping a whole lot.
We just recently had an avalanche of cyber attack by the other countries, and at the midst of having 3,400 people dead, and I don't hear him saying anything. You know, when my fearless leader don't say anything, to me, he's ignoring the point. And when that happened, really gets a little bit concerned.
I can give you a good example, if you like, is a recent conversation that I had online with a group of people who, by the way, got very angry because they insist that this president has nothing at all to do with the speed at which this vaccine has become available. And that's not exactly what I remember. I remember when this thing come out in April or so, and he announced Operation Warp Speed. We're gonna get a virus. We're gonna get a vaccine, in record time. And all of the experts, all of the talking heads on TV said, "This guy is crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. This will never happen. It's going to be years of vaccine. It's years and years away." And now that the vaccine is here, you have a very vocal bunch of people saying this president had nothing at all to do with it. It was all Moderna, or it was all AstraZeneca, or whoever it was their research. And of course, my point is that a certain percentage of people, unfortunately, are going to die from taking the vaccine because of, like you say, allergic reactions or whatever. And when that happens, I guarantee you Donald Trump will get the blame for rushing this vaccine to market. The whole narrative is going to change. I expect it to, because
Sean, I have my daughter is a physician and she's a researcher. She's here in Peru leading some teams, and one of them is related to the COVID-19 and the vaccines. In April, May, she told me that the vaccine was going to be done worldwide by the end of this year, not before that. Some presidents or some politicians were telling that it was going to be faster, and some other people, of course, were saying that it will take a couple of years. But because it is how it has been done before.
Yeah.
But right now, thanks to the technology and thanks that the scientists all over the world share information. Yeah. That's how we got this vaccine in record time. Right now.
Do you think, though, that
yes, of course, warp speed maybe help something, and because there was money to help this, but in other parts of the world, they have also developing vaccines in record time, not only in United States, and that's a great thing for us, for the people, no, for all over the world. It is thanks to the scientists, thanks to the technologies, and well, because there was sharing of information.
I think that, yeah, this is true. Not only the United States has been trying to overcome this deficit on the vaccine and rushing the vaccine, but the entire world was rushing the vaccine. Everyone was. And I can sympathize with that statement that Sean said, because the news has politicized this
Yes.
this so hard. Everybody's going to point at him. And in South America and in Peru, they probably will look at the president that was there when all this happened. We are all going to be.
Which of the three went?
Yeah, that
Three.
3 and 3 months or something like that.
I wish our system moved this fast.
You have to pick. You have to pick to choose it very well. Huh? Precisely.
I will say that probably that portion is understood. But I was in Peru when this situation occurred, when everything broke loose. And when I saw on my TV here, it was a president in Peru putting aside all of the issues that he might have been involved with. Everybody accused him of everything, and nobody has proved nothing just yet. Everything is assumptions. So we kind of like got rid of a president without really deciding if he was blamed, he needed to be blamed or not. So he's out of there. But my point was that since day one, when I was sitting there, this guy mobilized immediately to the protection of his people, and he put rules in front of them. And at 8 o'clock, everybody home. That's and right. Everybody will have to follow the distance and wash your hands at least 21 seconds and do every day at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whatever. He was on TV with the whole cabinet saying, we're going to win this and we're going to do this. And now, whether people say it or follow it or not, that's besides the point. All I'm saying is this man was on top of the game. Now, I turn around and go to CNN, or I go to MSNBC, or I'm going to Fox, and I'm listening to all of this because we have cable. And why is it is April or June and nothing has happened yet there? Yet we're climbing up the amount of casualties faster than anybody else in the world.
First off, let me interject here, if I may. First off, this brings me back to my point that all of the news that you and I are seeing is filtered. It's filtered, it's distorted. They can take a big, long, hour-long speech, and they can take one little clip out of context and play that in front of you and just make you angry. Hi, Liliana. You have a friend behind you.
The boss.
They can make you angry. They can make you sad. They can make you go out there and do silly things. You know, when we were talking about emotions a little while ago, sure. About the threat of this COVID, have you ever made a good decision when you were threatened, or when you were angry? It doesn't work that way.
You can.
It doesn't. Yeah, you got to be the best decisions of your life. Hopefully, with you, probably the lady that's standing behind you is probably yours, Rick. The best decision. But these are always decisions that you make when you're calm. When you can't be rational unless you're calm. And if you feel like someone is just punching you, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. Now later on, there were audios, and let me explain to you about this pandemia and the audios that they were playing. In this case, I believe the president had the intentions to not create panic when he learned about this thing. I truly believe so. And yet, when I see him in a speech in where he's saying the opposite, it makes him look very bad. And I just didn't like that. It makes him look real bad because what it does is dividing us. So I don't think that the Democrats and the Republicans are divided because they are divided. They're divided because the element of the news have done that to put little stories here and little stories there, and they're just watching those two parties going at each other. And people are still dying, Today, 3,000. Yesterday, 3,400. The day before, the same. So we are not really focusing on what we should really be in focus. Let's get this thing done the right way and forget about who became elected, what's here, what's there. January will come along and we'll see what happened then. But right now, we need to really focus in the facts. And the facts is that some people are getting reactions to this vaccine, and we need to really tune them up. I think that they added up to 6 per unit, 6 people to be vaccinated per unit. That increased it like 10 million more people, but again, we are more than that. So that's good that we got more. And now that this morning they approved the other vaccination, that's even better. But as we find this, somebody needs to be worried about what do we do with the pregnant women? What do we do with the people that are getting reactions? Somebody needs to begin that study before. I know that we're in the rush, but maybe we can perfection this vaccine for more people to get it with the level of trust that we need to give them. So I think that too many things are happening in this 2020 that is mixing out politics and the reality that we're in the middle of a pandemic, That's unfortunately. So when I saw that, let me tell you this, Sean, I live in this country more than 40 years in the United States. This is my home. And I feel very much, I love my home. I'm also love where I was born. But I receive a lot of calls in Peru from relatives and people say, hey, what's going on with your president? And I go, I don't know, I'm here. I can't tell you about that. But it got me wondering, what was that? And I finally found the pattern. It was a political war against him, and everything was assumed that he was the one, and he was the one. And of course, the fact that he knew early that it was bad, it did not help his cause. I tell you what, if he wouldn't adopt the policy that the president of Peru did, he would be the president right now. And he would have been 4 more years.
I just want to throw this out there that there's a big difference between Donald Trump and your president in Peru or any president anywhere else in the world.
Anywhere.
This guy is not a politician. He has never ran for elected office ever. The one single time that he ever ran for an elected office, he won the presidency of the United States. And this is not something that happens by accident. I mean, this never happens.
No.
Anywhere in the world. You don't just get some peasant farmer or something, and then, one day just wake up and be elected president.
Yes.
This guy wasn't a peasant farmer, but you know what I'm saying.
He was a developer. He was a businessman. He was a businessman.
He's a businessman. And as an entertainer later on in life, an entertainer, I think that he learned that politically, all he has to do is go out there and say something either really stupid or something kind of inflammatory, just
and
a
that's
little
it.
jab.
Yeah. And
then watch everybody just overreact, and it makes the other side look very silly. The overreactions that they that they have to this.
Yes.
And I think that's been his political strategy all along. It took me a while to figure out what was going on, but I said, I bet you that's probably what's going on.
Yeah, it probably is.
It probably kind of fits the pattern.
That's right. That's his behavior, I think. But I also think that going to the emotional side, that he paralyzed. When you are in extreme fear, or you fight, or you flight, or you freeze. And I think he freeze.
Probably.
Yes.
Well, Carlos, you have to
why
free.
He didn't say anything. What's going to be here? I better play. I'm dead. That's what he did.
I hate it that I'm in the role of defending this guy, because believe me, that's not someplace I really want to be. Like I say, he was not my president. I didn't support him. At least the first time around. But I do remember quite clearly, though, that when this outbreak first come out, he said he put an immediate lockdown on flights coming in from China.
Yeah.
And until we get our hands around this thing, we're not letting in any flights from China. And at the same time, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House of the United States, was calling him a racist, was telling everybody he was xenophobic, was urging people to come to Chinatown in San Francisco for this big New Year's party for Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
You don't hear about that side of the story. There's always two sides to the story. And that's the other thing that was going on. And so every time that he attempted to do something to make it better, the other side would amplify and distort it and make it into something that it was not.
It is obvious, Sean, that his capacity and his ability to do better than that, it was not there, because he should have done something more than just quietly accept that fact. He should say something. He should say, hey guys, okay, we'll stop China from coming in, so we'll stop everybody else, because by now it is obvious that the Chinese are all over the world, so whoever comes from Brazil needs to be stopped also, so let's stop everybody.
At the time, it was China that was a problem. When he instituted this policy, it was China.
Yes, that's right, Sean. But also here in Peru, the other politicians, the opposition, told the president he was crazy to do that, what he did. But was the only way. We don't have the infrastructure you have there for health.
The president made the right decision,
for your health sector. If we didn't take that measures he did, maybe we will reach 100,000 deaths or more, 200,000 deaths easily.
And we are at their mercy right now, and all we can do is really be very careful of the people that like in South America, we can tell which ones are the news that are close to, and in fact, I heard the president back then, we know who are the ones that are credible and we know who are the ones that are not credible, because he was being under attack. And so, with that mentality, we need to come back and also, just listening to our news and taking it with great salt, because not everything else that they say are factual at all. So we just need to do our very own.
The basics remain the same, though. Wear a mask, wash your hands, socially distance.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Those things.
We need.
We can always.
We have to
figure out who's to blame for it.
Yeah. We cannot blame though common sense, and the CDC is built on common sense in what they're saying. If you come back to this. I don't know where it is, but if you come back and take a look at this presentation that I gave you early here, the bottom line is this can happen when an individual with a bacterium or virus touches, coughs. That should just tell you that the common sense is protect yourself. Forget about this, I don't want to use it. Forget about going into parties. Forget about getting together. It's your life. And if you don't care about your life, it's the life of the people that are with you at the time you're together. that it is in danger, because you don't know who is asymptomatic, and if you're asymptomatic, you don't know that you have it and you can contagious people. I mean, there's been tests in where people have been tested negative for COVID, but they have it because they're asymptomatics. So we got to be very careful with that and just follow the rules of common sense that the CDC has allowed us to have, and just follow that. Again, we need to follow scientists. Science is what we have followed for decades. I mean, for centuries. Why can we change today? We don't need to change today. We just need to listen. Scientists give you the facts.
Yeah, I will add something to that bottom line you shown just before, that also when somebody talks near you or around you on a closed environment, or yells or laughs, that also can spread the virus, because it is an airborne virus that have been proven.
Yeah, this is true. I can tell you, it's one of the things is when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and you're wearing a mask, you pretty much have to yell through the thing in order to be heard. And the thought had occurred to me before that especially if you're at a distance, you're trying to socially distance, means you really have to speak up. You're yelling through a mask. And it just makes me wonder, how much of this stuff are you forcing out that you're aerosolizing? I don't know these things. I'm not a scientist, but I don't know if it's ever been tested.
Ha silenciado.
I'll tell you what, it happened to me yesterday when I was watching the correspondent to the White House on MSNBC, and she's talking. Now, she had the cameraman 6 or 5 feet away, and she still had the mask, telling me the news. And when she's telling me the news, all I can hear is, and I go, what? I can hear this. I mean, she is in the lawn of the White House, 150 square feet of lawn with a guy 6 feet away. Why do you need a mask in there, Especially if you're going
into a microphone, too. She's talking into a microphone. It's not like she's talking,
Oh, at least put the microphone underneath or something.
Stick the microphone.
So we can understand who is doing what. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, we had a very good conversation going. I think that right now, remember that we are lacking 2 days. Something happens, and then we have the results a day right after, or 2 days right after. So we're hoping that this weekend something is happening. I'm beginning to listen into the CDC information of projections of the people that are going to die. But I tell you what, the people that are going to die, because of their weak, are people that has been contagious perhaps 2-3 weeks ago, not right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something that happened and boom, you're dead. No, you got to go to a treatment, and you got to put your oxygen, you got to go to the bed and be treated. So I'm hoping to see some percentage of deaths down. But what I am focusing a lot is on that positivity effect, that the more we test it, the less that number goes down. That's telling me that it's not being any type of contagious.
It has to be down of 5%.
Exactly 5%. At the beginnings, there were companies in there, guys, that were at 20-30%. That means nobody was testing anybody, So now if we continue the testing and we remain below 10%, you're doing okay. You're doing what you're supposed to, So at least 10%. The WHO, WHO, the WHO.
Yeah.
So
not the rock and roll band. Yeah.
No.
That was a good band.
I know it wasn't.
Keith
That was
Keith
a.
Moon. That was
I
a good band.
know.
That was a very good band.
You're a baby boomer, aren't you?
Not quite. I'm a Gen Xer, but it just barely. I was born in '66.
Oh,
I think
you're a
the baby
baby. You're a
started
baby. You know,
Oh yeah, I'm a baby.
you're a baby. What are you doing with us old timers, man? You know.
I don't know. This is where I'm comfortable.
Good for
But
you.
I did want to make a prediction. I know that this thing's probably coming to a close soon. I wanted to make a prediction about what's going to happen socially. All right, and I based this prediction on because we've actually been here before. In 1917, there was a worldwide pandemic called the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
It killed just way too many people. People were locked up. They were isolated. They were having to wear masks. Had a terrible effect on the economy. But what was it followed by? I don't know how much you know of American history. It was followed by the Roaring '20s.
Yes.
Where it was a time of just immense social and economic activity. Everybody was making money. They were getting dressed up, to go anywhere, just to go to the grocery store. They dress up, tuxedos, top hats, whatever. I think we're going to see something like that happen at the end of this pandemic. At least I hope so. Yeah. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
that's a good prediction. That's a good one. Any advice? Now, last advice as we closing webinar number 2 from any of you, Carlos?
Well, just we have to keep taking care of us and all we lost, and do whatever we can to help others to be safe.
Exactly.
Whatever is on our hands.
Exactly. Sean?
And what we can do,
yes,
well, we can do it.
Yeah.
What worry about it?
Yeah, true. Sean?
I want to echo and amplify what Carlos just offered. The only thing I want to add to that is go back to the basics. Wash your hands, socially distance, don't cough and sneeze, wear a mask. Take precautions, but also don't forget your fellow man. We're all in this together.
Yes.
And everybody take care of each other, and we will get through this, I'm sure. Yes. And there'll be better days ahead.
Yes.
We have done before.
Yes. I mean, I really appreciate the feedback from both of you. Yes, we're humans, and we will overcome like we have overcome all the time. The advice for me to all of you that are listening to us, whether you were able to come or not, the advice for the world out there is that this is perhaps the best time to really become emotionally involved. There's a lot of people, especially the young kids, that are struggling. I know that some of my grandchildren just finished school, and what I hear from them is, I did great, I'm now in the next grade level up, but I miss my friends. I miss my teachers. That is an impact that I'm feeling, and it is a challenge to the parents, because the parents need to juggle the everyday activities just to keep them, to keep their morale up, to keep and at the same time watching them. Don't touch that, go wash your hands, do this. It is a tremendous responsibility. So to all the parents that are listening to this webinar, continue doing that work diligently. Watch for your children, watch for them doing things that sometimes us adults forget, and we just go out running, touching every bench in the park and going to the toys, and just be careful with that and teach them to follow the rules of scientists. The science is our facts. That message to the parents, And the parent that is working at home, like in my case, we just continue doing what we're doing best. And whenever we are ready to go back and do what we do best at work, we will do that and engage. I know there's a lot of parents that are going to go to Christmas Eve without a job. And all I can tell you, my friend, is at least all three of us or four of us, we will be praying for you that you will have perhaps the best Christmas of all. You know, we will not convene until January for our next webinar. So this is perhaps the best time for us to tell you Merry Christmas and keep your faith up and your head up, because you have nothing wrong. All you've done is just being victim of this human disease. And so keep on going, keep your faith up, and we will be always right here thinking on you. There will be better days. Gentlemen, thank you. I want to thank you, all of you, for your participation and for looking at the numbers with me today, for learning some things, I hope, you know, as far as the positivity rate that you need to watch when you go to CDC and look at that. All you have to do is just look at two numbers. That many tests, new tests, this positivity rate is within the so we get it under control. The only thing that we need to do for this family that lost their family, their relatives, is just to pray for them and to hope that they, I know that there's millions of families that are going to be feeling these holidays with the absence of their relatives and their folks and their parents, and all I can tell you is just trust him. There's a reason why, and we don't see it right now, and someday we'll find out. So thank you, Sean. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Jose. I know that you're there, but and peace and love and Merry Christmas to you. Where's my boss? Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad, Liliana.
Feliz Navidad, Carlita. Say, Sean, come on, Sean. Do the Jose Feliciano. Feliz Navidad. Na, 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 na.
La, la, la.
Yeah, where's my Congo drums?
God bless you all.
Bless you too.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.